Hello and welcome to another episode of the Untitled KKP show, where we talk about video games, anime, while in between trying to figure out what to name our show, which we haven't yet for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months straight. Holy crap, yeah. I am your awesome host, Mr. Toffee, Jonathan Toyad, or Jojo, or whatnot, however you want to nickname me. Mr. Toffee is good enough. Yep, let's go. And now we're recording on the 25th of August, when I believe we got some topics to cover, ranging from a game that's been embargoed for a bit that I played, all the way to Gamescom news that happened last week. I'm just gonna recap the stuff that we liked, that I liked, and also Animangake in no particular order. Like, we've got a couple of these to go through, so let's get right to it. So, we got our hands on Sega's latest arcade game / Mega Drive revival title for 2025, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which is coming out tomorrow on the 26th of August for people who bought the game, who pre-ordered the digital version early. The standard version is coming out on the 28th, 29th. Yeah, on the Thursday or Friday, coming up this Friday. So it is it's an action game, 2D action game, born out of the Shinobi franchise that Sega is known for, from the arcade to Shadow Dancer, the arcade version, and then the Revenge of Shinobi, which is the conversion, from the arcade to the Mega Drive, 16-bit. It was a completely different game from the arcade. Whereas in Shinobi, Revenge of Shinobi in 1989, you had a life system, you got hit points, the levels are bigger and a lot more structured and more maze-like, along with some action bits here and there. And you get to fight certain legally distinct characters like Spider-Man and Batman and Godzilla too. And there are some enemies who look a bit like some 80s action heroes like Schwarzenegger, the Terminator films. You even got like a Rambo stand-in before the update to the game got wrapped up. So this is actually one of those few games where the original game of Revenge of Shinobi got like a couple of re-releases that had to remove some of the copyrighted stuff to avoid legal issues, but at the same time they kept Spider-Man, because at that time in 1989-90, Sega had the rights to create games under the Marvel license using Marvel Comics characters, like the X-Men game, X-Men 2 games, and of course the Marvel Spider-Man title. Pretty cool, awesome games all in all. So back to Shinobi. So we've got like 1989 Shinobi, Revenge of Shinobi, 92, 93, 94 they had the Shinobi 3, Super Shinobi 2, Revenge of the Ninja Master. Completely different bunch of directors and creators and music makers, because the previous Revenge of Shinobi, that was music done by Yuzo Koshiro. That's why it's got a bit of the dance beat thing going on. Whereas in Shinobi 3, the music is a bit more video gamey. Not bad. In fact, it actually has some of the more memorable tracks in Shinobi game history, or even Sega's classic gaming history. Really awesome action, gave Joe Musashi a bunch of new moves like a dive kick and wall climbing and wall bouncing. Really, really awesome stuff. Also one of the top peak action games, 2D action ninja games back in the day. And then there was a bit of a hiatus. There was Shadow Dancer in between Shinobi 2 and 3, but it's not... It's good. It's actually more of a recreation of the one hit and you're dead kind of Shinobi game in the arcade, just, in Mega Drive form. And then a couple of years later, we skipped a generation or two. Sega became like a third-party platform game maker, and then they brought back Shinobi in 2001, 2002 for PlayStation 2. Just called Shinobi. New character, Hotsuma. You've got it's a 3D action game in the veins of Devil May Cry. Except it's a lot more it's more like a speedrunning kind of game where you have to kill enemies really quick and in succession, as well as activate this execution move called Tate, because your life gradually gets depleted because of your demon sword that you're holding. And plus, this Shinobi has a really cool red scarf, so whenever you see the game, whenever you do the movement, when you move around and dash and whatnot, you get to see the red trails from the scarf. That's really, really cool. A very memorable game, if a little batshit difficult, because you only get a checkpoint when you reach a boss. There is no checkpoint in between the stages. You have to complete it in one shot, and by the time you get to stage 3 and 4, that's when kid gloves are off. You've got dogs that catch your kunai when you try to throw it. You've got enemies who parry and block you, and then you've got like instant kill pits, which again, insane for its time. It's a fun game, but just super, really, really difficult, even for classic retro gaming standards. And now we have a bunch of Shinobi games for Game Boy Advance that was terrible, and then you've got like the 3DS Shinobi from Grip Shift, really okay game with the whole dual screen thing going on with 3DS. Not that memorable though. And then after a couple of years in a bit of a hiatus, since 2011 up till now, we finally have a new Shinobi game from Sega, made to, I mean obviously Sega's on it, but it's also made by the people who did the Streets of Rage 4 and the Monster World remake, Wonder Boy remake, Lizard Cube. And yeah, this is a 2D revitalization of the Shinobi games. It's a sequel. It's a direct sequel because the storyline pits you as Joe Musashi. He has sort of an expecting family thing going on. He's got his own clan, and then all of a sudden, this bad guy named Lord Roos and his E&E Corporation decides to destroy his entire village and turn everyone to stone because he sees them as a threat to his empire. And then Joe Musashi goes out for revenge to, destroy the E&E Corporation as well as Lord Roos. Not many twists and turns. He gets allies and the story progresses on, but generally it's an old school one-man army ordeal kind of title where you control one guy, he has all the moves, goes from left to right in 2D form, killing things in his way, solving a few platforming puzzles, going through a bunch of platforming challenges, including some run and gun kind of stages, and some bonus stages that are trying to mimic the old games like in Shinobi 3 with the surfboarding bits, and the riding on the dog bit, where you're running across the field, ninjas jumping at you, you gotta shoot them and collect bonuses, and avoid spike traps that are in the way. So yeah, this is a very good game. This is, after I played it like once playthrough, I actually got it during my trip in Penang. After I'm done holidaying, I just went straight to this. There are a few things that will get me to do work, and this hotly anticipated game on my side is one such title that'll make me go, yeah, I'm gonna go back to work even though I'm on holiday, because it's goddamn Shinobi, man. This is like a game that I grew up with back in the Mega Drive days of Revenge of Shinobi and Shinobi 3. Heck, even the intro, like when you start the game, when you're in the menu screen, you've got the main screen that looks exactly like how it did in Shinobi, Revenge of Shinobi. And yeah, this is a very, like I said, it's a 2D game, controls really, really well. It's a good mix of the platforming and action bits in the Mega Drive titles, as well as the hack and slash 3D title on the PS2. It's a good mix of that, because Joe Musashi has a move where basically if he stuns enemies enough, there'll be like a death mark on top of them, and then when you press LB, RB together, your bumper buttons together, you will do an execution move that kills anything that has the mark on them. So one good and plus if you kill them with the mark, you get more gold and more bonuses and energy back, and even health to a point. So one good tactic is to use your heavy attacks more, or your shurikens to stun enemies, and then once they all got the death mark, just kill all of them in one fell swoop. And the cool thing about this is the execution mode, there's no meter for that. You can activate it anytime an opponent has a death mark. In fact, there are some bosses that require you to use them, otherwise they do like a screen wipe kind of effect. I mean, basically you die if you don't do the execution, or they get back their health. Like they encourage you to use that skill a lot more than usual, which is good because you kind of want a game that tests you for all your mechanics. Joe Musashi has a double jump. He can dash. I mean, he runs by default. He's got an evade move, air dash, and then when you get through a bunch of when you get like your power-ups through every stage, you got like special ninja movement stuff, like you get to break down special Oni walls, barricades. You get to use a hand glider to go over, like you float up through air currents, or land softly. You got iron claws that let you climb on special surfaces. And you got the grapple hook that lets you like do a latch thing and propel yourself upwards onto different latches to get to higher ground. yeah, you'll need to use all these moves for all of the game's platforming segments. This is more of a 2D action game than a Metroidvania. While the stages are big and a bit more maze-like, like in the previous titles, this one's, and plus you got checkpoints, and when you quit to the main menu or quit out a game, when you come back, you can continue back from the checkpoint you were at. And then when you unlock any of the serpent statue checkpoints, you get to warp to any of them back in the same map. So you don't actually have to run and backtrack a lot. If you're really that lazy, you can just select on the menu screen, go to the map, select the statue, and then just teleport back. Again, Joe Musashi moves really great, he's really fast, and the traversal is really fun. But if you're super lazy and you don't mind a slight wait in the loading time, you can just teleport to wherever you want to go. It's, again, very convenient. Now, this is the kind of game where, like when you play a Metroidvania, you don't look forward to like enemy encounter walls or encounter arena bits because sometimes the combat can be very boring. This is not the case with Shinobi Art of Vengeance, because playing as Joe Musashi with all his moves, his heavy attacks, light attacks, air combos, dashing, special moves you can actually purchase, ninpo moves that you can activate when you got ninpo meter, like a fire breath move or like a thunder strike attack that stuns enemies more, or a shield, or summoning a giant snake to attack things, except the summoning takes quite long, or shoot a bunch load of kunais in the air like he did in Revenge of Shinobi. Like when you do the somersault, you can shoot like an arc of shurikens. You can do that as a ninpo move. It's restricted as a ninpo move because you can actually abuse it in the older games. So that's one way to restrict it. And then you've got ninjutsu special arts, super arts, where if you build up enough rage, you got the Shinobi icon on the top left flashing. You get to do a special super move. You get like 4 of these. One of them is a screen clearing one where the dragons pop up, Karin, I believe. And then we got like the shield, like in the old games, where basically if you shield it, you build up stun more onto enemies, and you can take a few hits. You actually get a few, you take less damage for a temporary amount of time. And then you've got one which is very useful. I think it's a water oni. I forgot what it's called. Water ninjutsu, where basically you just heal up your entire health. In a game where enemies hit like Mack trucks later and halfway in the game, I think I have died a lot in this title, mind you. It's very challenging. Having the water ninjutsu helps a lot, especially when you can just farm enemies for rage points at the outside, and then when you fight a boss, especially a boss that summons minions, this will be very helpful. Water ninjutsu is very, very helpful for me. It's the best move. I don't bother. I mean, yes, if you want a style, yes, you can use the flame ninjutsu, or you can use the lightning ninjutsu, or even the screen clearing rock ninjutsu, where you kill enemies on screen at a cost of like almost your entire life. So you actually get 1 pixel health left. So it's kind of like technically like the original Mijin attack, except you don't sacrifice your life. You just sacrifice 99% of your health. Yeah. So you kind of need all these moves to get ahead and get a high ranking. Or hell, when you unlock like arcade mode, you want to get the best time and get the highest combo. You need to purchase moves from the demon shop owner from the coin you get by killing enemies and opening up treasures. In fact, the storekeeper only has like a limited inventory, but you can actually increase it and get better moves by finding all the Oboro relics all around the map. Every map has like 5 of them. You collect all of them. You collect some of them to unlock, new items bit by bit, and you will need them, definitely. That also means you actually have to. I will trigger that itch where you kind of need to actually go back to an old map, and once you get all the abilities from a stage, you get to go back and revisit some stages to unlock certain parts here and there. Because yes, you can complete the stage straight ahead, but to get to certain parts, like secret parts, you may need particular skills in later stages, like the hang glider or the grapple hook. You need all that to revisit stages and to definitely 100% most of the game. So the game doesn't encourage you to unlock secrets, but again, you don't have to. It's really up to you and your skill level whether you want to actually go and just power through each and every different stage. And for that, I do give and again, there's really nothing bad I can add. Maybe if you, first off, I mentioned this earlier, the game looks gorgeous, but then you could tell from the footage I'm actually splicing in the title. Like, the music's great, done by T. Lopez, all original tracks. You've got a bunch of nods to Shinobi in the graphics itself, and with some of the enemies, and some of the secrets you find later in the game. In fact, there is one stage where basically you have to rescue hostages to proceed. And those hostages are actually kids. They look like the kids from the very first arcade Shinobi title. Yeah, that's a really good nod right there. And everything about it is great, from the art style, the stylistic art from Lizard Cube, the action, the pacing. There's a story too. I'm not gonna spoil much of it, but yeah, it's a really good story. It's a cute ninja 80s kind of tale, you know. But again, gameplay takes precedence here, and the gameplay, which is meant to be a hybrid of both the PS2 and Mega Drive Shinobi games, it all blends really well. It's a good fit that, you know, makes. I believe I completed my first run in about like 8 to 10 hours, and then I did another playthrough which was shorter because I knew what I was doing, and finding all the rest of the secrets, yeah, you can net you like a good 20 plus hours to get through everything in the game, you know, unlocking the secrets and completing some of the tougher challenges. So later in the game, you actually get to go through this Anku Rifts, where it's basically just tailors a challenge based on the items you get. So in the first Anku Rift, you get to go through, you know, you just have to do a bunch of double jumping and going through like spike platforms and all that, because if you hit a spike, you start all the way at the beginning of the stage. So these are very, very challenging bits here. So Anku Rifts, as well as the later portions, stages where you need to get like the Oboro Rifts, those are the more challenging parts of the game, where you really, I think I spent like, without spoiling the game, I think I spent like an hour getting through this one platforming segment to get like one of the Oboro Rifts, and that's like in the later stages in the game. It's insane. Like, wow, there's so much precision you need in this particular platforming segment, like air dashing, latching onto the area before it hits a spike, and the flamethrower bits of that platforming segment. Man, it's crazy stuff. The Anku Rifts also requires you to, you know, trust in your double jump and the air time you get when you're jumping, and also climbing and whatnot. It's very, very challenging, that's for sure. It is not an easy game, but if you pull through and persevere, it'll make a better gamer out of you. Yeah, it is all in all, this is definitely an A+ kind of title. This is good stuff. Like, if you love 2D action games and you want it to look super smooth and good with a nice soundtrack to accompany it, and some awesome ninja controls and action and skills and whatnot, with some hack and slash bits here and there, a good mix of it, Shinobi Art of Vengeance is highly recommended to satisfy that itch. We give it a 90 out of 100. You can check our written review by the time this video is out. The written review should be out before this video comes out, so yeah, I think it should have been got past the embargo for review. The game will be coming out on the 29th of August or 28th, depending on your time zone and location. If you buy the digital deluxe edition, you get 3 days early access, so it'll be out for digital deluxe owners on the 26th, which is 24 hours from now. But I guess 12 hours, 24 hours once this video is out. So really good stuff, highly recommended. Now, is it better than Ninja Gaiden Ragebound? Time will tell. I will probably do a video on that in the future. And plus, I kind of want to come back and, you know, get most of the achievements done for Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and then get the achievements for Shinobi Art of Vengeance done as well. But all in all, I'd say if you can get, right now as the point in time, if you want to get both. Faster paced ninja. I'm glad to be in this era where, you know, we get to see two awesome 2D action ninja titles out in like the same period of time, which is like in the same year, you know, 2025, and well made ones to boot. So Sega deserves a pat on the back for making a really nice looking and really action packed ninja title. Yeah, hearty recommendation. Go check it out. thanks again to Sega for providing the code for that. So maybe my opinion may not matter, but I can tell you honestly, this is a very good game. Yeah. So yeah, go for it. And again, word up to Joe Musashi. Thanks for coming back. You have completely been missed. So retro gamers will have a field day with this one. A good field day. This show is brought to you by the ASEAN Digital Content Summit 2025. ASEAN's Games, Animation, and Creative Tech Summit. Happening from 2 to 4th September 2025 in Persada Johor International Convention Center, Johor Bahru. Bridge the gap, bridge the future. Thank you all. See you then. Bye bye.